The golden rays of dawn filtered through the curtains of the spacious bedroom in Lagos, casting a warm glow across the polished wooden floors. Amara sat before her vanity mirror, her fingers gently running through the thick coils of her natural hair that cascaded down her back like a waterfall of black silk. Today was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. Her phone buzzed with messages from the wedding planner, the caterer, and friends sending heart emojis and congratulations. Yet despite the excitement bubbling around her, a knot of anxiety twisted in her stomach. Living under the same roof as her stepmother, Funmi, had taught her to expect storms even on the sunniest days. The door opened without a knock, and Funmi glided in wearing an elaborate gold gheli and matching buba. Her stepdaughter, Kimmy, followed close behind, designer heels clicking against the floor. Both wore smiles that didn't quite reach their eyes. "Amara, my dear," Funmi said, her voice dripping with honey. "Are you ready for your big day? I cannot believe my little girl is finally getting married." Amara tensed. She had never been Funmi's little girl, and they both knew it. When Amara's mother died 6 years ago from sudden illness, her father had remarried within a year. Funmi arrived with her own daughter, Kimmy, and together they had made Amara's life in her father's house increasingly uncomfortable. When her father passed away 2 years later, Amara found herself trapped in a home that no longer felt like hers. "Yes, Ma," Amara replied carefully. "The makeup artist will be here soon." Kimmy plopped onto the bed, examining her French manicure. Chitty is really something special. Rich, handsome, educated abroad. Some people really have all the luck. The emphasis on some people wasn't lost on Amara. She had grown accustomed to Kimmy's passive-aggressive remarks about her relationship with Chitty. They had met at a friend's birthday party 3 years ago, and his immediate interest in her had seemed almost too good to be true. A successful architect with his own firm, Chitty had pursued her with a gentleness and sincerity that gradually melted her guarded heart. "Amara," Funmi said, moving closer, "I've been thinking. Your hair is so thick and long. It is beautiful, but maybe too much for the wedding. What if we give it a little trim? Something more modern and stylish." Amara's hand instinctively went to her hair. It had taken her years to grow it this long, nurturing it with oils and patience. Her late mother used to braid it for her every Sunday evening, telling her stories of their ancestors while her fingers worked magic through the strands. "Thank you, Ma, but I already have a style plan with a hairdresser," Amara said firmly. Funmi's smile tightened. "I see. Well, it is your day after all." Before Amara could relax, Kimmy spoke up. "Actually, Amara, didn't you say you wanted Mommy's opinion on something? About the ceremony?" Amara frowned. She had said no such thing. But before she could respond, Funmi had moved behind her chair. "You know what? Let me just shape the front a little," Funmi said, suddenly producing scissors from her handbag. "Trust me, you will thank me later." "Wait, Ma, I don't." But Funmi's hand was already in her hair, gathering a thick section. The sound of scissors cutting through hair filled the room like a gunshot. Amara watched in horror as a long coil fell to the floor. "No, stop!" Amara screamed, trying to stand, but Funmi grabbed another section. Snip, snip, snip. More beautiful hair tumbled down like dark feathers. Amara's eyes filled with tears as she watched her stepmother hack away at her crown, cutting unevenly, carelessly, vindicatively. When she finally managed to push Funmi away, it was too late. Patches of her hair were chopped short while other sections remained long, creating a disastrous, uneven mess. Amara fell to her knees, gathering the severed locks in her trembling hands. "Why? Why would you do this?" Funmi shrugged, not even pretending remorse. "I told you it was too much. Now you look more humble, more appropriate for a bride." Kimmy laughed from the bed. "Oh my God, Mommy, you really did it." "Amara, babe, maybe you should just cancel the wedding. You can't walk down the aisle looking like that. Everyone will laugh." "Get out," Amara whispered, her voice shaking with rage and pain. "Both of you, get out of my room now." "This is my house too," Kimmy retorted. "In fact, when you marry and leave, this room will be mine." "Out!" Amara's scream echoed through the house. Funmi and Kimmy exchanged satisfied glances before sauntering out, leaving Amara alone with her devastation. She stared at her reflection, tears streaming down her face. Her wedding was in 5 hours. 5 hours until she was supposed to walk down the aisle in front of 300 guests, looking like this. With shaking hands, she reached for her phone and dialed Chitty. "My love," his warm voice answered immediately. "Are you ready to become Mrs. Okafor?" "Chitty," she sobbed. "Something terrible happened. My stepmother, my hair." "Slow down, Amara. What happened to your hair?" Through tears, she explained everything. When she finished, silence hung on the line for a long moment. Then Chitty spoke, his voice calm but steel-edged with anger. "Listen to me carefully, Amara. You are the woman I love. Not your hair, not your dress, not any external thing. You, your heart, your strength, your beautiful soul. Do you understand me? But Chitty, everyone will see. They'll whisper and laugh, and they will see the most beautiful bride in Lagos," he interrupted firmly. "Pack a bag with everything you need for getting ready. I'm sending my driver to pick you up in 20 minutes. You are not spending another moment in that house with those wicked women." "But where will I go?" "To my sister's house. Ngozi has already agreed to host you. She is calling her personal hairstylist now, the best in the city. We will fix this, my love. We will fix this together." Amara's tears continued to flow, but now they carried relief mixed with the pain. "How did I get so lucky to find you? I'm the lucky one, Amara. Now pack quickly. And Amara, this wedding is still happening. Nothing and no one can stop us from becoming husband and wife today. Do you hear me?" "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, I hear you." Within 20 minutes, Chitty's driver arrived. Amara grabbed her wedding dress, shoes, and makeup bag, leaving behind everything else. As she walked past the living room, Funmi and Kemi sat watching a Nollywood movie, barely glancing her way. Running away, Kemi called out mockingly, "The wedding is at 3 o'clock, oh. Don't be late to your own ceremony." Amara didn't respond. She simply walked out the door, closing on that chapter of her life. At Ngozi's luxury apartment in Victoria Island, Amara was welcomed with open arms. Chitty's older sister was a force of nature, a successful businesswoman with kind eyes and her brother's same protective instinct. "That woman is a witch," Ngozi declared after hearing the story, wrapping Amara in a tight hug. "But don't worry, my dear. We will make you so beautiful that she will choke on her own envy." The hairstylist, a renowned artist named Tolu, arrived with an assistant and several large bags. She examined Amara's damaged hair with the concentration of a surgeon. Tolu murmured, running her fingers through the uneven sections. "This was done with malice. But I have seen worse, and I have worked miracles. Do you trust me?" Amara nodded, exhausted from crying. "Good. Then let me work." For the next 3 hours, Tolu worked her magic. She evened out the cuts, creating a beautiful tapered style that highlighted Amara's elegant neck and cheekbones. Then she brought out a gorgeous silk press wig, custom-made with premium hair that matched Amara's natural texture perfectly. It cascaded in loose waves down her back, even more lustrous than her original hair. When Amara looked in the mirror, she gasped. She looked sophisticated, mature, stunning. "You see," Ngozi said, dabbing at her own tears. "That stepmother of yours did you a favor. This style is even more beautiful." The makeup artist arrived next, creating a flawless look with bronze and gold tones that made Amara's dark skin glow. When she finally stepped in her wedding gown, a stunning white mermaid dress with intricate beading, even the usually stoic driver wiped his eyes. Meanwhile, at the wedding venue, a 5-star hotel ballroom decorated with thousands of white roses and gold accents, Chitty paced nervously. His best man, Emeka, tried to calm him down. "Guy, relax. She will be here. You didn't hear her crying, Emeka. That woman destroyed her confidence, her joy, on what should be the happiest day of her life. But you built her back up. That is what matters." Chitty checked his watch. Guests were arriving, filling the seats. He spotted Funmi and Kemi being escorted to their seats near the front, both dressed elaborately, their heads held high with false dignity. His jaw clenched. After the wedding, he would make sure Amara never had to see those women again unless she chose to. Finally, The wedding coordinator signaled that the bride had arrived. Chitty took his position at the altar, his heart pounding. The music changed to the bridal march, and the doors at the back of the ballroom opened. And there she was. Amara appeared like a vision, the lights catching on the beating of her dress and the glossy waves of her hair. She walked alone, head held high, a serene smile on her lips. She had no father to give her away, no family who truly loved her walking beside her. But she didn't need them. She was walking toward her future, toward love, toward the man who had proven he would stand by her through anything. The guests gasped in admiration. Whispers of "she's gorgeous" and "that dress" filled the room. In their seats, Funmi and Kemi's faces went rigid with shock. This wasn't the broken, humiliated girl they had left that morning. This was a queen. As Amara reached the altar, Chitty took her hand, and she could see the tears glistening in his eyes. "You are breathtaking," he whispered. "You saved me," she whispered back. The ceremony proceeded like a dream. They exchanged vows, promising love, fidelity, and partnership. When the pastor pronounced them husband and wife, Chitty's kiss was tender but triumphant. They had won. Love had won. At the reception, as they shared their first dance, Amara finally allowed herself to fully relax in her husband's arms. "Thank you," she murmured against his chest, "for not letting her destroy this day." "Amara, look at me," Chitty said, tilting her chin up. "She destroyed nothing. Hair grows back. What matters is that we are together now, forever. And I promise you, in our home, you will only know love and respect. No more cruelty. No more tears from pain." "What about tears of joy?" she asked with a small smile. "Those are always welcome," he grinned, spinning her gently. From across the room, Funmi watched the happy couple, her champagne glass gripped tightly. Kemi sat beside her, stabbing at her jollof rice with unnecessary force. "I don't understand," Kemi hissed. She should have been humiliated. Instead, she looks like something from a magazine. "That man," Funmi said bitterly. "He did this. He rescued her. Men like that are rare. Your father was nothing like him." "It should have been me," Kemi muttered. "I am more beautiful, more educated, more sophisticated. Why does she get everything?" But even as she spoke, Kemi knew the answer. Amara had something that couldn't be bought or faked. Genuine kindness, resilience, and the ability to love despite being wounded. These qualities had drawn Chitty to her, and no amount of envy could replicate them. As the evening wore on, the party became more vibrant. The DJ played Afrobeats that got everyone on their feet. Amara danced with joy she hadn't felt in years, surrounded by Chitty's warm, welcoming family and their mutual friends. Later, when the formalities required her to acknowledge family, Amara approached Funmi and Kemi's table with Chitty at her side. "Thank you for coming," Amara said politely, her voice devoid of warmth. Funmi forced a smile. "Of course, my dear. You look, well, the hairstyle is different from what I expected." "Yes," Amara said simply. "I decided to make a change." Kemi couldn't hide her bitterness. "That dress must have cost a fortune. I hope you appreciate what you have." "Oh, I do," Amara replied, her hand finding Chitty's. "I appreciate it more than you could possibly understand." She didn't stay long at their table. There was nothing more to say to these women who had tried to break her spirit. Instead, she returned to the dance floor, to the celebration, to her new life. Late that night, in the honeymoon suite of the hotel, Amara sat at the vanity removing her jewelry, while Chitty loosened his tie. She caught his eye in the mirror. "I was thinking," she said softly, "about what happened this morning." Chitty came to stand behind her, his hands gentle on her shoulders. "Do you want to talk about it?" "Yes, but not the way you think. I was thinking that maybe it had to happen this way. If she hadn't done that, I might have continued visiting them, trying to win their approval, letting them drain my joy bit by bit. But today showed me exactly who they are. And it showed me exactly who you are." "Who am I?" he asked, smiling. "You are the man who sees me. Not my hair, not my background, not my scars. Just me. And that is the greatest gift anyone has ever given me." Chitty kissed the top of her head. "Amara, you gave me the same gift. You saw past my money, my status, all the superficial things. You saw my heart. We were meant to find each other." "What do I do about them?" she asked. About Funmi and Kemi? I still own part of my father's house. But I never want to live there again. Then don't, Chitty said simply. We can sort out the property legally. You can sell your share or rent it out. But you never have to subject yourself to their cruelty again. Family is not just blood, Amara. Family is who chooses to love you, protect you, cherish you. Like you, she whispered. Like me. Like my mother and sister who already love you. Like the children we will have someday, who will grow up knowing only love and kindness. Amara stood and turned to face him fully. Children? You want children with me? Of course, Chitty laughed. Many of them. Our house will be filled with noise and laughter and love. Everything you missed growing up, we will create together. She threw her arms around him, overwhelmed with gratitude. For so long, she had felt like an outsider in her own life. But now, standing in her husband's embrace, she finally felt like she had come home. The next morning, they left for their honeymoon in Zanzibar. 2 weeks of pristine beaches, turquoise waters, and uninterrupted time together. Funmi called twice, but Amara didn't answer. She was done allowing that woman to intrude on her peace. When they returned to Lagos, they moved into the beautiful home Chitty had prepared for them in Lekki, a modern house with large windows, a garden, and enough rooms for the family they would build. 3 months into their marriage, Amara enrolled in university to complete the degree she had abandoned when her father died and money became tight. Chitty insisted on paying her tuition. Education is never wasted, he told her. Whatever you want to study, whatever dreams you have, I will support them all. She chose to study psychology, driven by her own experiences with trauma and healing. She wanted to help others who, like her, had survived family cruelty and needed to rebuild their sense of self-worth. 6 months after the wedding, Amara discovered she was pregnant. The joy she felt was indescribable. She called Ngozi first, then her husband. Chitty rushed home from a meeting, burst through the door, and swept her into his arms. Are you serious? We are having a baby. Yes, she laughed through happy tears. In 7 months, you will be a father, and you will be a mother. The best mother. Our child is so blessed. That evening, as they sat together planning the nursery, Amara's phone rang. It was Funmi. She stared at the screen for a long moment before answering. Hello. Amara, I heard news that you were expecting. Congratulations. The words were right, but the tone carried its usual edge. Amara took a deep breath. Thank you. You know, a child is a big responsibility. I hope you're ready, and I hope you will allow me to be part of the baby's life, despite our differences. Amara looked at Chitty, who nodded supportively, leaving the decision to her. Funmi, Amara said carefully, using her stepmother's first name instead of Ma for the first time. I appreciate your call, but I need you to understand something. The way you treated me, especially on my wedding day, was unforgivable. I'm not angry anymore, but I'm also not foolish. If you want to be in my child's life, you will need to show me, through actions not words, that you have changed. There was silence on the other end. Then I see. I won't keep the baby from knowing you, Amara continued. But our relationship will be on my terms now. Respectful, boundaried, and honest. Can you accept that? Another pause. Yes, I can try. Then we will see. Goodbye, Funmi. After hanging up, Chitty pulled her close. That was brave. I learned from you, she smiled. You show me that I deserve respect, even from family. Especially from family. Over the next months, Funmi did try, in her own limited way. She sent gifts for the baby, called occasionally with less barbed comments. Kemi remained distant, her jealousy too deep to overcome. Amara accepted this with peace. She couldn't control their feelings, only her response to them. When baby Chisholm arrived, a beautiful girl with her father's eyes and her mother's smile, Amara felt her heart expand in ways she never imagined possible. Holding her daughter, she made a silent promise. This child would never know the kind of cruelty she had experienced. This child would grow up secure in love. Chitty was a devoted father, waking for night feedings, singing off-key lullabies, reading storybooks to a baby too young to understand. Their home became exactly what they had dreamed, a sanctuary of love. One evening, when Chisholm was 6 months old, Amara and Chitty sat on their balcony, watching the sunset. The baby slept peacefully in her bassinet between them. "Do you remember our wedding day?" Amara asked softly. "Every detail," Chitty replied. "Why?" "Sometimes I think about what would have happened if you hadn't been who you are. If you had called off the wedding, or been embarrassed, or blamed me somehow." "That was never a possibility," he said firmly. "Amara, I chose you not for your hair or your appearance. I chose you because of your heart, because you were kind when you could be bitter, strong when you could be broken, beautiful inside and out." "She tried to take my crown that day," Amara reflected. "My hair was my pride, my connection to my mother's memory. But you know what? She couldn't take what really mattered. She couldn't take my dignity, my worth, or my ability to love and be loved." "That's because those things were never in your hair," Chitty said, taking her hand. "They were always in here." He touched her chest, over her heart. Amara looked at their daughter, sleeping peacefully, at their beautiful home, at the man who had kept every promise he made. And she realized that the day her stepmother cut her hair, intending to destroy her happiness, had actually been the day she learned her most important lesson. True beauty, true worth, true love cannot be cut away by scissors or diminished by cruelty. They can only grow stronger through adversity. "I forgive her," Amara said suddenly. "Fun me. I forgive her." Chitty looked at her with surprise and pride. "You do?" "Yes. Not because she deserves it, but because I deserve peace. I won't let bitterness take root in my heart. I won't let her have that power over me anymore." "That is wisdom," Chitty said softly. "That is strength." As the sun set over Lagos, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and purples, Amara felt a completeness she had searched for all her life. Her childhood had been marked by loss, her teenage years by displacement, her young adulthood by cruelty. But this, her life now, was marked by love, and that was worth everything. Years later, when Chisholm was old enough to understand, Amara would tell her daughter the story of the wedding day when her grandmother cut off her hair. But she wouldn't tell it as a tragedy. She would tell it as a story of triumph, of how the worst moments can lead to the greatest revelations. She would teach her daughter that beauty is not in hair or clothes or appearance, but in character. That strength is not in never falling, but in rising every time. That love, real love, sees past every flaw and celebrates every truth. And she would make sure Chisholm knew that she was born from that love, the kind that endures all things, believes all things, hopes all things. The kind that cannot be cut away or diminished. The kind that grows stronger with time. Many years later, on Chisholm's own wedding day, Amara helped her daughter get ready. As she fastened the final button on the wedding gown, Chisholm turned to her mother with tears in her eyes. "Mommy, thank you for showing me what love looks like." Amara smiled, touching her daughter's face gently. "My darling, love is not just what I showed you. Love is what your father and I built together, through storms and sunshine. Remember that when you face challenges in marriage, remember that the strongest love is tested love." And as she watched her daughter walk down the aisle toward her own future, Amara's hand found Chitty's. After all these years, his grip was still strong, still sure, still home. Her stepmother had tried to cut away her crown all those years ago. But what she didn't understand was that a woman's crown is not worn on her head. It is carried in her spirit, forged through fire, and passed down through generations. And that crown, once earned, can never be taken away. The end.